Welcome to the Wolf of AI Privacy channel. I'm a data privacy expert with the goal of helping 1 million people protect their privacy. Today we're going to talk about how to build out a strategic privacy program. Whether you're a large corporation or a startup, what are the fundamental things you need to build out a program, leverage resources, and build out a team? Okay, the first step in developing out a program is aligning on your North Star. Where do you want the program to be in 2 to 5 years? So when I was working at a biotech company, we established the North Star as our kind of vision for the future. We were a new team and we were working to understand what the main risks were within the business. We decided our North Star would be achieving 80% compliance in data protection in the next 3 years. Why do you set a North Star and a vision for your team? Well, it's important because you want everybody working towards the same goal, and you want to make sure it's aspirational enough that you're going to achieve more than you actually expect to achieve. So what happened at the biotech? We achieved the 80% goal within 2 years. Why? Because we all were collaborating, finding efficiencies, and aligning on this North Star goal to achieve this for the company. So the importance of having a North Star is also to help you bring on new people, onboard people, and again, everybody has a shared vision of where the team is going. It also helps reduce thrash. If there are 500 different goals, it's going to be hard to focus on the one thing you're trying to achieve as a team. Once the North Star is developed and aligned upon and shared with leadership, the next step is figuring out the how. The best way I found to develop out the how is to go from bottoms up. Top-down leadership can be very hard, especially for IC level employees and tactical folks who just want to execute day to day. They know the problems, they see the issues, and likely they're going to come up with the best solutions. It's not going to come from a chief privacy officer or vice president. Those solutions are going to come from the people working, don't want to say at the bottom, but the people working on the real tools and really in the weeds on things. I always recommend working across the team to come up with SMART goals. Why do I like SMART goals? Well, SMART goals are easy to develop. You can iterate on them, and the team can help set them up and have SMART goals for themselves that align with your North Star vision. What does SMART goals stand for? The S stands for specific. Why specific? Well, what actually are you going to do to achieve the goal? So an example of this would be, we're going to implement cookie compliance for all of our web properties. That's a specific goal. So you want to be super crisp on what the goal is, and each employee should be responsible for having a set of SMART goals. The next piece of SMART is measurable. It needs to be measurable either on a time scale or a percentage. So I may say, I'm going to achieve 80% compliance with cookies by the end of year. Another way measurement could come into play, maybe I am going to measure how many people were trained within the organization this year on privacy. Measurement is important because you're able to track towards a goal. The next piece of SMART goals is achievable. It needs to be something that the team can achieve. So if they say, I am going to turn all consents to opt-in globally for all of our products by the end of the year across 100 surfaces, that may not be achievable for a company. But scoping it down to 3 surfaces by end of year could be achievable. The next piece is relevant. So how is it relevant? Again, back to the North Star. Is it relevant to the goal and what the team is trying to achieve? And the last part is time bound. How long is this going to take to achieve? Will it be a 6-month project, a year, or 3 years? So scoping out the time, and this is all flexible. Once you come up with your initial SMART goals, you can iterate on them. You may find things throughout the process that require shifting, And that's part of the process, and that's okay. By using SMART goals across the team, everyone has visibility into what everyone else is doing, so it avoids duplication. It avoids, impact grabbing. Nobody's like, hey, that was my project, because everybody's super crisp on what they're working on. And lastly, it drives clarity across the team and across leadership. Everybody knows what their responsibilities are, and when there's issues or blockers, they can help each other and cross-collaborate. So we have our North Star vision, we have our SMART goals. The next piece is developing out a project plan. Now this seems super basic, but a lot of companies and teams skip this step, and it results in a lot of confusion and thrash and later escalations. So putting together a simple project plan, this doesn't have to be a database or anything super fancy. It can literally be in a Word doc or an Excel spreadsheet if you don't have software and you're a smaller company. But tools like Asana, obviously Excel, and there's a number of other tools such as Basecamp that are out there that you can utilize to build out your project plan. So the main components of the project plan are the key areas you're going to deliver on, who is responsible for what, and when is it due by. The next piece is dependencies. So when something is dependent on another thing, you want to build that into it. And again, this can be super simple. You don't need complicated software, but have this mapped out and have your team collaborate and get buy-in on the actual plan and agree that this is the plan of record moving forward. Again, like anything else, you can iterate on it. There's changes, new dependencies that come up, but you can manage and plan that through your project plan. Again, this seems super basic and simple, but a lot of people skip this step, and it just really grounds everybody in one frame of reference, in one plan. People aren't creating multiple documents, it's all going into one, and the updates can all be done on a weekly or bi-weekly basis on the team in a quick 15-minute sync to make sure everything is moving as expected. Once you have these pieces in place, you can look to now scale and ramp up the team. You may not have all the people within your team. You may be a startup, so you're a one-person team, or you have no privacy team, and you need to bring in either contractors or a consulting firm to help you implement this project. So step one will be identifying your team. One way I've seen smaller companies do this is have employees who are interested in privacy stretch and work on privacy 20% of their time to implement a core project. So something that may be critical to the business, such as consent, privacy policy, deployment of cookie consents. Those are some of the key ones, but there's a variety of others where you may need engineering resources, project management, product management, and design. So pulling these folks in, building out your team. If you're a larger company and you are able to have resources to build out your team, identifying the core roles such as a privacy analyst, program manager, and director of privacy are key to getting the folks in place and aligning on roles and responsibilities. Additionally, whether you're a small or large company, you may want to leverage consultants based on your timelines and kind of risk factors involved in the privacy projects. I've seen consultants help on surge projects, implementation of things such as GDPR, LGPD, or CCPA, and then even helping to develop out privacy preserving technologies that they didn't have the expertise for within their company. Most companies, especially in high-risk areas, will need to have some type of privacy implementation or program set up. Examples of these include tech, ad, health, augmented reality, education, and the list goes on and on. Pretty much any company will need some type of privacy team in place to build out these practices and procedures to make sure their user data is safe. I want to dive into one specific example, which is a dating app company. So this one's recently been in the news because there was a Netflix documentary on it. The company's Ashley Madison. Why is this interesting? Well, it was a dating app. It was a dating app for married people, which is even more confidential. And a lot of the companies we utilize today have highly confidential information that we may not think about. For example, credit agencies, platforms, even social media platforms where you're sharing pictures of your children. Also financial institutions where you're transacting your confidential financial information. So back to the Ashley Madison example. The example is interesting because in the docuseries, I saw it last week, they talked about how users had deleted their accounts. Well, even though they thought they had deleted their accounts, the actual company never deleted any data. Why does this matter? Well, if you never delete any data as a company, you're creating a huge amount of risk. And this is a simple kind of exercise of deletion and retention. Most companies don't spend the effort and time to go through, but specifically if you tell your users that you can delete your account and you're not doing it, that's creating a huge risk. When the actual breach happened, all of their data was exposed and then leaked to the public, then exposing those, some of which were high profile people, to the public, even though they had deleted their accounts. Now, I imagine there was some type of legal action and reparations for those people. I think that in the docuseries, this was still ongoing. And this company still does exist today, I'm sure, with much more protection around their data. But I just want to point this out because simple things like deletion may not be important, but they are critical to your business, especially if you are a business gathering users' data. The GDPR protects EU data residents. However, there is more coming down the pipe with CCPA in California and 20 other states passing laws. And there is a US data privacy bill on the table right now, set to potentially be passed in 2025. So the more proactive you are as a company now, the better posture you'll be and the better position you will be for your actual users. Just to recap, when setting up a privacy program within a company, whether large or small, there's three main components. You want to set your vision for your North Star. You want to set SMART goals across your team. Ideally, your team is setting those. And lastly, you want to have a project plan for implementing your privacy protections across the business. These three components will set you up and your team for success and ensure your company is set up in terms of privacy protections.